держит в своих руках будущее этой страны. Влияя на подростков и на молодежь, мы влияем на будущее.
I want to say something to the foreigners just for you to get a total grasp of what's going on. He's a young man that came to church 12 years ago as a drug addict. He said it was not just zero, it was nothing, but it was minus nothing. Things were so bad for him. He couldn't school, he couldn't leave, he was getting ready to die. Now, remember the concept that I'm trying to teach you is that raise up, make sure you dedicate yourself to put yourself, develop Christ in these people, put passion in them. So he's just one guy who caught the passion. Today, the ministry is having is, because he got to be drug addict when he was a student in the university or so. So he's saying, now I am going to stop that problem in the society. So he started a ministry for prevention, drugs prevention, gang prevention, smoking prevention, sex prevention, just prevention, so that you don't cure, but you prevent. Now the problem with that is, he's a believer, and he's going to talk as a believer, and the state here is separated from the government. I mean, the schools are separated from religious organizations, just like in America. Now, but in America, most people just say, well, the state is separated from the school, there's nothing we can do about it, prayer has been removed from school. It's not about prayer, it's about what you know. Here also it has been separated, but we don't just go and say we want to pray. You've got to come out with better strategy. You've got to propose to them what they cannot refuse, what they are in need of. And in every place, we've discovered what they need. What they need is that they don't want those crimes in the school. What they need is that they don't want those shootings in the school. What they need is that they don't want those drugs in the school. What they need is that they don't want all those sex in the toilets of the school. We know what they need. So what these people did is they came up with a program and curriculum, writing curricula and programs as social programs, as psychological help for students and schools. So as a result of that, and that's what the teachers were saying, all the headmasters and the principals were saying, that these students refuse to listen to us teachers. But when these guys come around, all those people who run away from classes run back to the school just to listen to them. All the people who run away from other classes, they don't want to come, they are truants and things, but they want to listen to them because they've got the experience of what that kind of lifestyle leads to. So these people that are here, these are just a team. These are not the people that are touched, because this team of his, maybe 200 people, these people touch 25,000 people every week. This is not the old people they touch. These people, this is just the leaders. This is the team that touches 25,000 people every week. How can a local church ever do that? So if I had said, well, I'm the pastor, bring them to church, and if you don't bring them to church, forget about it. Well, everybody has to be there. I'm the only pastor who has the right and the influence, and the church should be. So every one of these people, they are reaching and touching more people than I could ever do, that the church will ever do in a year. So that's why in this country, people think we are 5 million people. And it's true, because all these people, they touch on daily, weekly basis at least 5 million people. That's what a local church can do when you empower people and set them loose. Adelaja иностранцы.
Они подбегают, они хотят со мной дружить, они...
Now, I will say something to the foreigners. Now, he is the leader of the ministry. He has his key leaders. Then these are the other leaders under them and all that. So, for example, they want to take over all the schools and universities and institutes in the city. So they have a list. They make a whole list of all the schools, primary, secondary, university, colleges, and they begin, he develops his key leaders. Сколько здесь первый ряд твой? Да, сколько человек? 12 или 15. Let's say he has 20 people in his first tier of leaders. So those other ones have their own 12 or 20 people under each one of them. So one of his leaders is the girl here, Anya. She said she was on drugs and, you know, smoking and things like that before she came to church. She was nothing. So she's finishing university now. He finished one university, doing the second university. So they are trying to educate themselves so that they will be able to speak on the level of the university people and professors. So that's number one. Number two, he as a leader is preparing her. Then all the schools, let's say they make a list of 200 schools or 400 schools, then as one of the leaders, she is responsible for 5 schools, 5 universities in a section of the city that is divided. So this young girl is responsible for 5 universities and having 500 people each in all those universities. You see what they're doing? So this one is responsible for another list of universities. This one, other cities, other towns, and things like that. So it's a strategy about it. Everybody has got to go to school, get themselves educated, but she also has to prepare her own leaders. So she has her own team as well. Then each one of them required to have their own team. That's why we win the nation. That's how it will take over the whole school system of the land. Even though it's prohibited to preach in those schools. But with the wisdom of God, you take over and turn everything around. Закончила или еще не досказала?
Одно слово. И я, конечно, хочу поблагодарить вас, пастор Сандей, и всех пастырей, которые принимали участие в моей жизни. Вы научили меня, знаете...
This is a guy that couldn't finish primary school. He was chased from 6 schools. Couldn't finish primary school. Now he's the director of a bank.
Hallelujah.
Yes. And also, but as his ministry is having outreaches to a whole city, a whole state. He's the head of so he's using his bank and the influence he has gained through his business to bring liberation to young people and using it as a platform to spread